Alright, well, we're back here in the garage. I was planning on doing a little something for you guys outside. I don't know if you can hear the wind blowing, but it's ripping probably about 20, 25 out there right now. Typical this time of year. It's cold, overcast, not exactly a sight casting day. So I got to think about some questions that I get all the time. And one of the main ones in regards to fly fishing is getting started. People always hit me up with, what's a good starter kit? And nothing against those starter kits and the manufacturers who make them, but don't go the starter kit route. What you need to do is go ahead and get you a decent rod and reel and get set up in a way that you can grow with it. If you get the cheap starter sets, they're fine for going out and practicing and playing around on a pond or something. Won't hold up in salt water most of the time, depending on the set. And you're going to outgrow it. Your skills are going to get beyond that starter kit fairly quickly on the rod side. One of the things I always tell people is just go to your local fly shop, whichever one's close to you. I prefer Fish and Tackle Unlimited. Kerry Marcus is at the Go Freeway store. Fantastic guy. He's been in this fly business longer than most anybody I know. Another good one is Mike Barbie. He's at their Katy Freeway store. And then the new fellow down there at Sugarland store is Bob McKay. Any of those three are going to help you out. Go in there and be honest with them. Say, hey man, I don't want to spend a ton on this because I don't know if I really want to stay in it for a long period of time. But generally speaking, when you get good equipment, even if you fall out of it and you decide, now this really isn't for me, I'm going back to my old Corrado, you can turn that gear and sell it pretty good, and you don't lose out a whole lot. If you bought the cheap stuff, then nobody's gonna want it, and you pretty much have to give it to somebody. So with that in mind, go to Fish Tackle Unlimited, tell them what your budget is, tell them where you're at with it, and that will point you in the right direction to get started. I'm a big TFO guy. That's all these rods here are all TFOs. Everything from a little 6-weight. I've got a half weight and a 4-weight for little trout streams. But on saltwater, 6 is as low as I go. Dead calm wind days. These are 8 weights. That's your everything. That's pretty much the standard along the Texas coast. 7, 8, 9. Some people like the odd numbers, some like the even. I just went even numbers all the way up. 10 weight, I've got that for jacks and a little bigger fish on the beachfront, baby tarpon at the jetties. For the big tarpon, big boys, that's when you jump up to that 12 weight. Most people getting started out aren't going to need that 12 weight, but if you're looking to do something fun, once you mastered catching redfish on your little 8 weight and you get a little bit bored with it, go out there and start playing with jacks first. Warm up with jacks, then move up to the tarpon. And something I'm going to work on this year with my guiding is fly fishing for sharks. I've been wanting to do it for a while. I've got the gear. Those are real heavy duty. They're 12 weight, but they've got a lot of butt to them, and you can work a big fish really hard with it. The next thing that bothers people beyond that is a reel. Any of the reels that are aluminum anodized reels are great for saltwater. Got a decent drag on them. You don't have to spend a fortune on them. I'm fortunate I'm hooked in with Hatch, and the Hatch reels, top of the line, love them. Super smooth drag. By that you mean, if you haven't been fly fishing, it's the startup on the drag. That initial pull, when the line starts coming off the reel, you don't want jerky. If you got a drag that's sticking, you're going to break your line. Every time it jerks, it's popping that line. What you want is one that just starts a smooth pull. With that, you can fight big fish on light tackle, as long as you got a decent drag. There's a multitude of reels out there. Like I said, I'm partial Hatch. If you're just getting started in this game, you might not want to spend quite that much on it. But the guys over at Fish Tackle Unlimited, they can put you into the right reel. they're gonna set you up with something quality enough. If you'll notice, the line's all loopy. Been sitting on this reel for a while. It's cold outside today. When you get out there, you start off your day by stretching it, or maybe do it the evening before, but stretch that line out real good, and then it'll start laying a little flatter for you, so you don't have all those curls. Next up is the line. I'm a Scientific Angler guy. They've got some fantastic lines. They've got real good coatings on them. Make it real slick. My wife's chicken is joining in on our video. They've got welded loops on all of them, makes it simple. You can get into tying your own stuff later, but in the beginning, just go simple. I got a question the other day about leaders. On the fly lines, they make a bunch of different ones. Amplitude is their newest. It's got a super slick coating. When you go to fire that out, it just shoots through the guides. Warm water redfish, that's just your standard wake forward floating fly line. Most everything that you're going to do when you're starting out is a floating line. Match it to your rod. You know, so that's why they have the 7, 8, 9 weights. All the lines have the same thing. They have the same ratings. There are people who like to overline, underline for various reasons. So if you're just starting out, keep it simple. Don't try to get too fancy with this thing. Got a call or a message just yesterday about leaders. A guy was all wound up that, you know, his leaders aren't unfurling at the end of his cast. Are they too long? Are they too short? Are they too thin, too thick, whatever? They make these that are just very simple little packages of leaders. These here happen to be 10 foot, 12 pound. They're bonefish leaders. I would use those on the dead calm days when the redfish might be a little spooky. Like fall in the front, it'll smooth out, be dead calm. On those days, the reds will be a little bit spookier, and I'll go with something a little longer, fluorocarbon. But to tell you how simple it is, one of the guys that got me into this years ago at Fishing Tackle Unlimited was Chris, and Chris Phillips. He used 16 pound hard mason. That was his thing. Stretch off 8 foot, 9 foot of 16 hard mason, tie fly on and go. Keep it simple. But they make these in all different sizes. I would go, most of the red fishing up and down the Texas coast, I'd stick to 12 or 16 pound and a 9 foot leader. And you can clip off the end of it if you want to make it a little shorter when you're beginning. You can't quite make that leader roll out all the way. Shorten it up just a little bit, and that'll help you with that. Our fish aren't that spooky most of the time, and they're not leader shy. It's not like freshwater trout where, you know, these guys are using 12 foot long leaders of line that's like, looks like a fine hair. We don't have that problem here. You can get away with 16 pound hard mason and throw it right in front of them. But that's pretty much it for getting started, the basics. Flies, anything that looks like a little minnow or a little shrimp or a little crab. Don't get too caught up in that. I use mostly natural colors with a little bit of a flash of color, or orange or something along those lines, but mostly tans, olives. Most of my flies look kind of like shrimp. They don't look exactly like anything. You want something that pushes a little bit of water, especially if you're on the upper coast where it's a little dirtier water. You want something to push some water, have some life to it, some movement, and some contrast. Like I said, in this game, there's so much overthinking that goes on, and I get guys on the boat all the time that are just, I don't know, they're just frozen. You know, they don't know what to do next with their gear or with any of that stuff. It's fishing, man. Just go out there and have fun with it, and give me a holler if you want to get out on the bow of the boat, learn how to cast, and then come see me. Thanks.